Howdy folks, it is Diecastbuffet here again, and Michael McDowell gets his second career win, wins the Indy road course. Upset alert. Oh, it's so freaking cool. It is so awesome to see Mikey win again. Holy cow, dude, the burnout, everything. Wow, get that race to win Diecast, guys. It's going to be a hot seller. Make sure to pre-order that 124 scale. Most likely a 164 is going to be offered. You can pre-order that over there at Circle B Diecast. And technically, they actually won today because they were on the B post of that car. So that's pretty cool. Make sure you use the promo code Diecastbuffet. You can save on 80 orders, $30 or more. Wow. So, Michael McDowell took him to the woodshed. I mean, just domination. What was it, like 80 laps of green flag racing? It's a road course. There's not many laps to begin with. 82 in total, and he just, obliterated the whole field. It was like 75, 80 laps, straight green flag racing. I'm going to talk about my honest opinion on the road course, perhaps the future of Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Cup Series, but I just got to give it to Michael McDowell. They've had the best year of Front Row Motorsports' entire existence. This was a team, for the newer fans out there, in the late 2000s and in the early 2010s, this was a start and park team. This was a team that would struggle to be top 35 in points week in and week out. They would have a whole carousel of drivers. Michael McDowell is a very much, it's very similar to Michael Waltrip's career, a journeyman who's had to fight and scratch and claw to get to where he's at, and to see him finally continue to have more success. He won the Daytona 500 a couple years ago, but he was driving for Levine Family Racing. He was driving for Michael Waltrip Racing when they sucked, before they had Boyer and they were championship caliber. I think he even driven for Phil Parsons Racing as well, back when they had the 98 car. He's driven for a bunch of backmarker teams, just piecing together rides to get through the whole, his NASCAR career. And Front Row Motorsports is getting stronger and stronger. And they just re-signed Todd Gilliland and Michael McDowell, which is awesome because there was a lot of rumors Mikey was going to potentially go maybe to Stewart-Haas Racing. And with how inconsistent they've been, I don't know if that would have been a great deal. But I tell you what, whoo, that is so cool. They're locked in the playoffs. And now the NASCAR playoff bubble burst. Because here's the reality. He was probably going to point his way in. He's been very consistent. But now, Ty Gibbs, Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez, Alex Bowman, they're probably all going to have to win their way in with Watkins Glen and Daytona next. Anything could happen. And we seen it last year at Daytona, where it was one of the craziest NASCAR races in history. Woo! It's going to be good, because now, points out the window. All them drivers are going to have to win. And now, Bubba Wallace, what do? Do you try to race to win? Try to deflect them from winning, or do you just go for points and just hope they don't win? Because he's right above the cut line, so the whole playoff scenario is going to be very interesting. And I'll touch on this real quick. The 34 car is just, they won the race today, but they're not a lame duck. This is not a 30th place car week in and week out. I legitimately think they can get out of the first round. They have showed so much speed this year, not just at road courses or plate tracks, but even at the 1.5 miles and even the short track. So don't be surprised if Mikey has a very clean first 3 races of the playoffs and finds himself in the round of 12, which, hey, Talladega's in there. Anything can happen. Don't be surprised that 34 car is not a lame duck and, finds her way to move on, because there's been a lot of inconsistent drivers this year. You never know. So that's that. Unbelievable. But how about the quality of racing? I'm going to keep it 100% honest with you. I hope this is the last road course Indy race in the Cup Series history. Bring back the Brickyard 400. This race, in terms of quality, nothing happened. I'm going to keep it honest with you. They had one little wreck. Oh, it was a little wreck. It was a pretty gnarly one with Justin Haley. Was it lap 2 or 3? After that, nothing happened. They had a few spin outs, but this road course to me is unbelievably overrated. Just the quality of the racing, whether it's Indy cars, Xfinity cars, or Cup cars, to me it's really bland. I just don't like this road course. I never wanted this road course in NASCAR. To me, it's time for it to go. It needs to go. It needs to go. The only reason they brought it into NASCAR is because the Cup Series sucked so bad at the Oval that they had to get rid of it. Thanks, Gen 6. But to me, this racetrack is so overrated. You could go to Portland, you could go to Laguna Seca, Sebring, Road Atlanta, I don't care wherever if you go, VIR, there are so many other better racetracks they can go to and run at. To me, it is time to close the chapter on this Indy road course, get it off the NASCAR schedule. If they want to run the Xfinity, I could care less, but if it was up to me, Xfinity, ARCA, Trucks, IRP, you can run the IndyCar, whatever, GMR summer race there, whatever the biff they want to call it, and then run the Cup Series on the oval. That would be a cool weekend in Indiana. Having 3 races at IRP, IndyCar race on the road course there at IMS, and then having the oval for the Cup race, bringing back the Brickyard 400. And why I personally think it's going to happen, and I hope it does, it could age like milk, but with Kyle Larson announcing their paint scheme for the Indy 500 next year in 2024, and also their Coke 600 paint scheme, which I didn't expect that, it's definitely different, there is going to be an absolute megalodon worth of media coverage on the Indy 500. There's going to be people all over the world talking about Kyle Larson all the way up to the Indy 500. It's like we have not seen a double dip into the Memorial Day weekend at Indy and the Coke 600 since Kurt Busch in 2014. That's 10 years of waiting since this happened. There is going to be so much organic wait for this event. The media coverage is going to be absolutely spectacular. My point is, if there's ever a time to bring the Brickyard 400 back, guess who covers the Indy 500? NBC. Guess who's going to have the Brickyard 400? NBC, if they potentially, they have the IMS race on their schedule, on their TV schedule. If there's ever a time to bring it back, it's 2024. Because you're not going to get the same media coverage and attention in 25 or 26 or an on up. This is the year to do it, 2024, because you could take the Kyle Larson media hype. You're going to have a buttload of people that are watching that race that may or may not have been watching it, specifically NASCAR fans, and you could take that, parlay it, and bring the attention to the Brickyard 400. It would be a perfect way to segue it, advertise it, and you could, build it up as bringing back the tradition of the Brickyard 400. You have a car that has been proven time and time again, Pocono, Michigan, and Fontana, to be extremely entertaining on the big tracks, which Indianapolis is a giant racetrack. Let's not kid ourselves. It is giant. You have a car that's capable of running those tracks that would put a fantastic show on. I see more and more fans hungry and missing the Brickyard 400. And then you have Kyle Larson, the first ever Cup Series champion, to be back at the Indy 500 doing the double dip since 2014. It is the perfect time to bring back the Brickyard. You will not get this same opportunity the year after that. And the year after that. Next year, 2024, is the perfect prime time. It took 10 years between Kurt Busch and Kyle Larson to make, the jump for the doubleheader. If Kyle Larson does it next year, it's going to take a long time to build up that hype. There will not be a better chance to bring it back. I personally think they will. They have been testing, or at least they had a scheduled test, or they've already tested the Indy Oval. I think it's coming back, but they're waiting for the full press release of the schedule. If they don't, big L. Just keeping it real. Because to me, the racing here was so plain, mundane, and And them changing the restart zone, it just watered it down even more. You don't have as many calamity and crashes in turn one, and that mixes things up. That's what made people like it in 2021. You had a buttload of crashes. When you take that away, you have extremely bland racing at this track. It's not like Road America where you might have organic passing for the lead and comers and goers. I'm just saying, it's time for it to go. And I'll end the video on this. Single file restarts suck in NASCAR racing. I'm just going to keep it real. Every single time they have a weather race, I'm disappointed. I used to get so hyped for weather racing because I'm like, oh my goodness, it's going to be crazy. Now they just do single file restarts. So they've completely killed the weather racing to me. Because single file restarts, it's so bland. The leader's 2 to 3 car lengths already away from second place before they get through turn 1. Or, come into the restart zone. Because they just jump it. You're in an apex of a corner. It's hard to gauge it. I don't know. Double file restarts or nothing. That's my honest opinion. Rain racing, I used to be very much a fan of it. Now I'm like, it's so boring because they butchered it. But that's a different story. But anyways, Huge congratulations to Michael McDowell. So close for Chase Elliott, but hey, man, I was rooting for Mikey there. I can't help not cheer for the underdog. Really cool stuff. The playoff talk is going to be incredible. I expect the teams going to Watkins Glen are going to be in a must-win situation. They're going to say screw the stage points and go for it. I don't think you're going to be able to point your way in unless you're the 23 car. I'm just keeping it real. I feel like everyone else is going to be gambling, going for it. At least I would. It's just my honest opinion. Now, what's really important is what you think. My words don't matter. I'm not afraid to admit that. So make sure to comment down below. Tell me what you think about today's action. And maybe what do you think about potential of bringing back the Brickyard 400? I think it's time. I think the racing would be fantastic. And I also think the attendance would be great as well. You've had some time, to kind of let it build up and snowball, and people are excited for it. And then you have the potential of the Kyle Larson media circus. That's going to bring a lot more attention to it. I'm just saying. And if you have a great race or potentially a crazy finish, which is capable with these next-gen cars, you could get a great race. And that will essentially allow it to take off and carry itself without needing that Indy 500 plug with Kyle Larson showing up. So who knows? Thank y'all so much for watching. Huge congratulations again to Mikey for winning at Indy. That's pretty cool. Holy cow. And this is a Larry McNugget. I figured this out during the race. All three of the current Cup Series road course races at IMS, that being 2021, 2022, and 2023, have all been second career wins for drivers. AJ Allmendinger, Tyler Reddick, and Michael McDowell. I think that was Reddick's second win. So if that's the case, that's a Larry McNugget you could remember for, I don't know, whatever you want. Have a great one, everybody. Diecastbuffet, signing off.